There's a specific kind of fear in sports, not the fear of losing. Athletes live with that fear their whole careers and learn to manage it. This is something else. This is the fear of knowing. Walking onto the court, already certain of how the night ends, and still having to play the game anyway, that was what it felt like to guard Michael Jordan.
Coming on this level is a brand new start for me, and I have to start from the bottom and work my way up. So, I think the hard work is ahead of me, and I'm willing to take on that challenge and go out and play the best I can.
Not difficult, not challenging, broken. Opposing players didn't just lose games to him. They lost the belief that winning was even a possibility. And once that belief was gone, the outcome barely mattered anymore. The damage was already done. This is the story of how one man turned basketball into psychological warfare and won that war before the ball was ever tipped. Jordan's intimidation didn't start with a dunk or a fadeaway. It started with his eyes. Teammates and opponents alike described a look he'd get, locked in, unblinking, almost predatory, usually right after someone made the mistake of trash-talking him, or scoring on him, or simply looking too confident too early. It was a look that said, "You just made this personal." And when it became personal with Jordan, you lost. He treated slights, real or imagined, as fuel. A player disrespecting him in the first quarter wasn't just risking a tough matchup. He was risking Jordan deciding right then that this game would become an execution. Coaches around the league understood this. Some explicitly told their players, "Whatever you do, don't wake him up." Because the version of Jordan who felt disrespected wasn't just trying to win anymore. He was trying to make a point and make you feel it. By the mid-1990s, the fear wasn't building in real time anymore. It was already there before the game even started. Rookies would talk about the strange sensation of being handed a schedule at the start of the season, seeing Chicago Bulls on a date in January, and feeling their stomach tighten right there in the locker room, weeks in advance. This is the part people forget. Intimidation isn't just what happens during 48 minutes. It's what happens in a player's head for the days leading up to it. Jordan didn't need to say anything to opponents to get inside their preparation. His reputation did that work for him. Coaches game planned around fear as much as around talent. Double teams, hard fouls, gimmick defenses, all of it born from an underlying panic. How do we keep this from getting out of hand? And so often, it got out of hand anyway. If the regular season built the myth, the fourth quarter is where the myth became religion. Jordan understood something that separated him from almost every great scorer in history. Talent wins games, but certainty wins fourth quarters. He didn't just want to be the best player on the floor in crunch time. He wanted the other team to know he was going to be the best player on the floor before it even happened, so that when the moment came, some part of them had already given up trying to stop it. Defenders would talk about a specific, sinking feeling late in close games. Not, "I hope I can stop him," but, "I already know I can't." That shift, from hope to resignation, is the single most dangerous thing that can happen to a competitor. Jordan manufactured that shift constantly, deliberately, game after game, year after year. It's why so many teams that were competitive with Chicago for 3 quarters simply came apart in the fourth. Not because their talent disappeared, because their belief did. Jordan's talking wasn't noise, it was targeted. He studied people. He remembered slights from years earlier. A comment in college, a dunk on him in a pickup game, an offhand insult from a rookie who didn't realize what he'd just done. And he'd use it. Mid-possession, mid-game, sometimes mid-series. He'd bring it up out of nowhere, just to watch the effect ripple across an opponent's face. It wasn't cruelty for its own sake. It was strategy. A rattled opponent misses shots. A rattled opponent forces plays. A rattled opponent starts thinking about Jordan instead of the game plan. And the moment that happens, the game is already decided. Younger players especially struggled with this. They'd enter the league with confidence built over years of being the best player on every floor they'd ever stepped on. And Jordan would dismantle that confidence in a single quarter, sometimes a single possession, leaving them changed for the rest of their careers. By his second three-peat, Jordan wasn't just a player teams feared. He was an idea teams feared. Entire seasons were shaped around the question of how to avoid him in the playoffs. Front offices built rosters not around how to beat the Bulls, but around how to survive them for one series and hope for a different bracket the next year. That is a different kind of dominance than simply being good. That's dominance that reshapes an entire league's strategic thinking, year after year, for a decade. Even Hall of Fame opponents, players with championships, players with nothing left to prove, admitted to a specific dread reserved only for him. Not for a team, not for a system. For one man, and the certainty that came with his presence. What made Michael Jordan the most feared competitor in basketball history wasn't only the 30,000 plus points, or the 6 championships, or the game winners. It was that he understood something most great athletes never fully grasp. The game is won long before the buzzer. It's won in the other team's head, in their preparation, in the quiet moment before tip-off when a player looks across the court and feels that first flicker of doubt. Jordan didn't just beat opponents. He made them believe deep down that they were always going to lose. And then he simply let the score catch up to that belief. That's not just greatness. That's fear, manufactured on purpose by a man who understood exactly what it was worth.